What if the number isn't powerful, but the moment it unlocks is? $10,000, not millions, not luxury, just 5 figures, yet it breaks people out of loops they've been trapped in for years. It doesn't buy freedom, it buys leverage, room to breathe, room to think, room to choose. For some, it's the first emergency that doesn't become a disaster. For others, it's the first investment in a skill, a move, a tool, a clean restart. Money doesn't change your life. Timing does. Tonight, we decode why $10,000 becomes a turning point through fantasy, history, and the future. Every legend begins at a locked door. Touch the handle, feel the cold iron. In the kingdom of Ashvale, a young courier dreams of leaving the mud roads behind. But the gatekeepers don't ask for courage. They ask for proof. Coin for passage, coin for food, coin for a single night beyond the walls. He earns scraps, always one crisis away from losing everything. A torn cloak becomes debt. A sick day becomes doom. He is brave, yes, but bravery is expensive when tomorrow is uncertain. Then, after a season of dangerous runs, he gathers a pouch worth 10,000 in the kingdom's measure. Not a fortune, a key, and keys don't create destiny. They create options, quietly, overnight. He buys 4 things: a week of safety, a sturdy pack, a map, a blade that won't shatter on first impact. Now he can walk past the tavern traps, refuse the crooked lord's contract, choose the road that isn't ruled by hunger. The dragon wasn't outside the gate. It was inside his ribs, named scarcity. With that buffer, the hero trains instead of panics, sleeps instead of bargains, plans instead of praise. He crosses the threshold, not because he became fearless, but because fear stopped owning the calendar. In every tale, the first treasure is time without terror, and the journey begins the moment you can finally say, no, alone. History wasn't built by the rich, it was built by the solvent. Picture a port city in late medieval Europe. A ship returns, half its cargo spoiled. Most families would be ruined, but one modest merchant survives. Why? Because he has reserve, enough coin to pay crew, repair sails, wait for better winds. That reserve is the ancestor of $10,000. In every era, there was a threshold, a line where survival stopped consuming all of human thought. Farmers with a spare granary could endure drought and plant again. Artisans with saved silver could buy better tools, rent cleaner space, hire an apprentice. A scribe with steady income could copy manuscripts carefully, instead of rushing for the next meal. Then came contracts, guilds, early banking. Credit existed, but without a cushion, it became a chain. The people who changed history were not always the richest. They were the ones who could survive a mistake. Those with no buffer didn't choose their lives. They obeyed their emergencies. One illness, one broken wagon, one failed harvest, one hit, and generations were trapped. But cross the stability line, and everything shifts. You store inventory, travel to better markets, refuse predatory terms, wait for fair ones. You invest in presses, compasses, workshops, tools that turn hours into output. Reserve made negotiation possible. Negotiation made specialization possible. Specialization built cities, science, renaissance. Not because money made people noble, but because stability gave them time. $10,000 is history's winter granary. The difference between one storm ending you or merely delaying you. future, poverty isn't lack of money. It's lack of exits. Neon towers glow, algorithms schedule your life, rent auto withdraws, micro debts whisper in every notification. You don't collapse dramatically, you loop day after day, with just enough to keep moving. Your attention is harvested, your schedule optimized for someone else's profit. Even rest becomes a subscription. Then you get $10,000, not to flex, to decouple. It becomes a small oxygen tank, 3 months of runway, a certification, a move, a repaired vehicle, a medical bill that doesn't become a spiral, a laptop that can actually build. Suddenly, the loop loosens. You can say, I won't take that shift. I won't sign that contract. I will learn the skill that breaks this cycle. One jump is all rebellion needs. In cyberpunk stories, heroes don't topple corporations first. They buy time, they hide, they upgrade, they learn the system's language. In transhuman futures, the first upgrade isn't metal in the spine, it's margin in the month. That's what $10,000 is. Bandwidth against automation, against panic, against exploitation disguised as convenience. The future won't belong only to the richest. It will belong to those who can pause, reskill, relocate, and choose a different timeline. Because a paused mind can see the exit sign, a panicked mind never can. This isn't about money, it's about pressure. When survival eats all your attention, you don't think, you react. You take the first offer, accept the worst terms, keep toxic people close because solitude feels expensive. You delay the doctor, delay the course, delay the dream. $10,000 changes the physics of your decisions. It lowers the volume of fear. It buys mental bandwidth. It turns chaos into a plan. Clarity is the real currency. Your questions evolve. Not, how do I survive this month? But, what should I build this year? Not, what can I afford today? But, what will cost me tomorrow? Here's the secret. $10,000 works best when it has a mission. Mission 1, remove the knife. Pay the overdue bill. Fix the thing that keeps breaking. Stop the leak draining you every week. Mission 2, buy runway. 3 to 6 months of basic expenses, not comfort, control. Mission 3, buy compounding. A tool, a certification, a small experiment. Anything that returns time, skill, or income. $10,000 is not wealth. It is permission. Permission to walk away from a job erasing you. Permission to invest in a skill that compounds. Permission to wait for the right move instead of forcing the fastest one. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they lack runway. One mistake becomes a cliff. Panic becomes policy. So the goal isn't worshipping money. The goal is buying enough stability to act like the person you already are. Calm, strategic, brave, on purpose. Use $10,000 like a shield, not a crown. Protect your time, protect your health, protect your focus. Then let your next choices multiply it, because once fear is quieter, your true intelligence finally speaks. The number was never magic. The moment was. $10,000 is the first breath above water, the first unlocked door, the first quiet morning where you hear your own thoughts. Money doesn't change who you are. It changes what you're finally allowed to choose. So if you ever reach that threshold, don't waste it trying to look rich. Use it to become free. Buy stability, buy time, buy skill, buy distance from panic. And when life tries to pull you back into the loop, remember the door, the granary, the neon future. $10,000 doesn't make you powerful. It gives you space to become powerful. On purpose. Again, it was never about the $10,000. It was about what it set free.